the voice of Eve, recording from the USA. Our topic today is celebrating Nigerian and African achievers in the USA. Please stay tuned with us. We will soon be back. As we grapple with the need to return to our positive cultural values, there is a happy development which gives us some hope. It has to do with the initiative of a noble-minded Nigerian in the USA. The Life and Times magazine, the creation of Chike Nweke, operating from the Los Angeles region, is steadily debunking the usual stereotypes associated with Nigerians, fishing out hitherto unsung heroes and heroines, recognizing and celebrating their lives and their achievements in the distinctive community services in the USA. In what has now become a momentous annual event, Chike Nweke, the founder, the CEO and publisher of the Life and Times magazine, is steadily reworking, redefining the image of Nigeria and Nigerians in the USA. He is our special guest today. Please join us. I am Dr. Violet Arene. Hello everyone, welcome back. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is the voice of Eve from the USA. The topic is recognizing and celebrating Nigerian and African achievers in the USA. And I am highly privileged to have with me today, as a special guest, a man behind it all, Chike Nweke. Sir, it is a real honor for me to have the privilege and opportunity to interview you here.
Thank you so much. It's also my honor and privilege to be on Voice of Eve.
Chike, you're a wonderful man, a unique person. You started the Life and Times magazine all by yourself, using your own personal resources in recognition and appreciation of a fallen hero, a man who died not just as a distinctive professional, but as a peerless lover of humanity who touched so many lives in the Los Angeles region with his human compassion and labor of love in community services. Tell me, what did this man do? What did he accomplish?
So Life and Times basically was a project that was started to celebrate the life of this great man, Mr. Nweke, who was not just an accomplished professional in his own field. He was an engineer, a senior engineer with Car Transit, California Public Transport Authority. But he was also an outstanding community leader, a visionary who helped galvanize our community for good causes while he lived.
You have chosen some criteria to use in making your annual awards.
Yes.
What are these criteria subsequently after this giant of a late man? What are the other criteria?
Talking about the criteria for selecting our awardees, we look for people who have distinguished themselves in our community, in their professions, in community service, in the entrepreneurship, people who have impacted positively in the lives of people here in the diaspora. Those are the people we choose for our awards.
If I might ask, why did you choose the medium of fiestas for these annual awards?
The Life and Times Fiesta is an annual event that we use to celebrate people who have distinguished themselves. We also use it as an occasion to spotlight the great talent we have in our community. We have young and up-and-coming people who are doing so well in the arts, in music, in comedy, in their professions. People whose talent have become so well recognized, even here in the diaspora, that we want to bring them into the community and celebrate them during the fiestas. A lot of our compatriots are making so many positive changes within this society. If you take a statistics, about 7 out of every 10 doctors in the United States that are black and Nigerian. So
say that again.
70%.
Yes.
70% of black doctors in the United States are Nigerians by origin. Nigerians are some of the best educated demographic here in the United States. In fact, statistics shows that after the white and the Asians, the next best educated demographic here in the United States are Nigerians. So if that is the truth, based on pure fact and statistics, I do not know where they're getting this idea that the average Nigerian is into crime and is into shady activities. That is far from the truth. But you know what? Because this is the stereotype that the Western press wants to perpetuate, they run with it. That is why we have to tell our own story from our own perspective.
Thank you very much. We really need to tell our own story. I'm so impressed. I've heard it. The greatest number of postgraduates here in the US are Nigerian.
That is true. That is so true.
It's amazing.
That is so true.
We've got to tell our own story.
That is so true.
Thank you for the Life and Times magazine.
Thank you.
It's wonderful. You are obviously a role model of a patriot, of sacrifice, of labor, of love. What motivated you? Is it patriotism, or human compassion, or pure Christian sentiment, or who are you?
You know, that's a very good question. In 2010, when I went home for the burial of Ugo, I went to Abuja and I had the fortune of being granted an audience to see the then Minister of Information, Mrs. Dora Akuyi, Dr. Mrs. Dora Akuyi,
Yes.
in her office in Abuja. That was the era of rebranding Nigeria by Dr. Akuyi.
Yes.
You know, so I met with her and she was so excited about this project. So it is part patriotism, part sacrifice, because the job of rebranding Nigeria is not just that of government alone. The job of rebranding Nigeria is for all of us to do.
Yes.
In fact, Dora committed to coming to the launching of Life and Times in November of 2010. Unfortunately, before we could launch, she moved on from government and was no longer Minister of Information. So, what we are doing in Life and Times is an extension of government's goal of rebranding this country and telling them we are a good people. We are a resourceful people. We are very highly qualified people. We have contributed so much globally.
Yes.
To the growth of the global economy, to world history. A lot of Nigerians have done so much in their chosen professions that the truth has to be told about the positive contributions we are making, and not the few individuals who are denting our image from their activities. And the truth is that if you take the statistics, there are people, other demographics around the world that are worse off than Nigeria in all the things they do. Nobody talks about them.
Yes.
But let a Nigerian do one single little thing, it will be blown out of proportion because that is the stereotype they want to sustain. What we decided is to tell people's story. We don't want to wait to death to celebrate them.
Yes.
We want to tell their stories while they are still living and celebrate them while they are still living. Let me do a quick rundown of our last award ceremony.
Yes.
We gave awards to some 6 distinguished Africans here in the diaspora. Dr. Kejago came to this country in 1961. He studied mechanical engineering. He became one of the leading aerospace engineers in the United States. He worked for great companies like Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, all the big names you can think about, Hughes Aircraft, all of that. He just worked, labored in obscurity, and retired about 7 years ago. Nobody recognized him. So we said, if this man could do all of this, we should celebrate him. Dr. Mao Fobi came from Cameroon to United States in 1966. In the 70s, he discovered the Fobi pouch for control of obesity. He has helped thousands of Hollywood stars, common people around America, to regain their weight and regain their health. We felt it was necessary to celebrate him. And so on and so forth. Some women, Mrs. Lara Okunobi, owns the biggest healthcare service catering to disabled and mentally challenged people in Southern California.
Wonderful.
She is a Nigerian woman who had done so much here in this society to help our people. We felt it was necessary to celebrate her.
Yeah.
The list can go on and on and on. So that is why we chose the medium of the fiesta, not just to celebrate people, but to also spotlight up-and-coming talent in our community. We have thousands of our young ones who are doing great things in the arts, in music, in comedy, in different life endeavors. And we felt we should create a medium where every once in a year we can gather together and celebrate ourselves and celebrate our achievements.
And celebrate talent.
And celebrate talent. That's great.
It's wonderful. It's all very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. At this point, you've made so many awards, and we may need to hear from one of the awardees, especially a female. Remember, this is the voice of Eve.
That is so true.
Yes.
I'm sure the story of Mrs. Lara Okunobi is
in fact, it touched something in me.
Yes, and the story of Mrs. Helen Bako, who is working in Nigeria to end violence against women and children, will also inspire you.
Yes. So we'll take a break and hear from one of your awardees.
Thank you so much.
Joins an organization that is meaningful. I'm not talking about just Ashwebi. Do something that is important to the community. Yeah, let's get involved. On behalf of my late husband, we started a Compassion Without Border. We feed the homeless at least 6 times a year. Members of the Compassion Without Borders are here: Dr. Neka Kubilo, Mrs. Saliu, Mrs. Joy, Dr. Laja, and many people that come. I mean, that's not the only thing that you can do, but those are things that within your control. That's what Mother Teresa said. He said, "You have not been called to do all the good in the world, but do that which is within your control."
Welcome back. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is the voice of Eve, recorded from the USA. We have just heard from one of the awardees in the annual fiestas organized by Life and Times magazine. Chike, you are really rewriting the story of Nigerians. Do you see yourself as a positive motivator and a man who is impacting Nigerians positively to change their values and their goals?
I wouldn't ascribe any of those big titles to myself. What I'm doing is just doing my little best to add to the complete story.
Okay.
What I have set out to do is, from my little corner, tell our story from my own perspective, because there's what they call a single story. The single story sees you from one single perspective. I want to help in painting the beautiful tapestry that is the Nigerian life. Nigerians are doing well in business, in politics, in the economy, in the professions, in health, all of that. I just want a situation where people appreciate us and tell our own story. If at the end of the day I have achieved a little bit of that, I'll be satisfied.
Thank you.
big titles like role model and all that, I want to leave it.
Honest.
I want to leave it for history to determine.
In fact, humility means actually that you let others shine.
Yes.
You are letting others shine.
Yes.
So you take it.
Yes, let history judge me at the end of the day. Let history define all those accolades.
Okay. History well. You are doing very well.
Thank you.
And I can see you are also doing well for women, because out of your dozen directors, board directors, you have 4.
Yes.
4 women there. And I would like to know, how do you think your efforts impact the interests of women?
You know, behind every successful man, they say, is a woman. I have a great wife at home, and I have some great women on my board. And I don't just choose them because they are women. They are very qualified. Let me do a quick rundown. Mrs. Lara Kunubi, a member of my board, owns the biggest social service in Southern California. Her budget runs into some millions of dollars annually, and she serves thousands of people on a daily basis through her business.
Wonderful.
She's an accomplished administrator. She's an accomplished business entrepreneur. She's done so well for herself. Mrs. Ebere Anakwenze is a physician who also serves on our board and has done well on an individual level and for her profession. Mrs. Amaka Ada Akumunobi, our Director of Special Projects, is also a family attorney for the last 19-20 years here in California. And the last but not the least, Mrs. Iroka Udaya Ndubizu, who is based in Atlanta, Georgia, is our Director for the Southeast United States, and she is a Deputy Director in Contracts and Negotiations with Emory University in Atlanta.
Ooh.
So these are very accomplished women on their own rights.
Yes.
So we will say we are privileged to have them on the board because they bring a certain completeness and wholeness to our board, and their contributions to the board of African Times are invaluable. We cannot do without them.
Thank you for being women friendly. Now you excite me.
They are very qualified women.
Thank you very much. Now, I might ask you, you're doing so well, but what is your vision for the future?
You know, I want to see Life and Times in the future as the authoritative media voice in our community, crossing the different genre of media, print, broadcasting, publishing, different areas that we can talk about. I look at something like Telemundo, the Spanish network channel. It is a strong voice within the Spanish community, and it's also a strong voice in the larger American community. In fact, if you want to talk about the Spanish community, you have to listen to the Telemundo. So hopefully one day, the Life and Times network will be a major authoritative voice of Africans here in the diaspora. That's what I dream about. But of course, you have to lean on God. You have to believe that He will bless the work of your hands. And you have to believe that it is He that will bless you and prosper you. So we are leaning on Him while we make our human effort to bless the work of our hands so that we become that authoritative voice that people can go to.
Sir, you are wonderful.
Thank you.
You are a Nigerian I'm very proud of. And obviously you're a Nigerian who will not exchange your nationality for any other one. You love it enough. And this is what we should all do. Thank you for being a wonderful inspiration.
Thank you, sir.
You have also inspired me.
Thank you.
God keep blessing you,
Thank you for having me.
prospering you, and increasing you.
Amen.
Your story will continue to reverberate.
Amen.
In Jesus' mighty name.
Amen. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is the voice of Eve, recording from California, USA. Our topic is Nigerian women in the USA connecting with us. It is our privilege to have this moment with us a group of Nigerian women who will let us know that they are very much connected. Those cultural values you treasure so much that you must impart them and share them with your children, even here in California. Margaret?
With me, the cultural value that I see people that is not happening anymore. In Nigeria, it's speaking our languages. So our children, people in abroad, they have excuse to say, maybe I'm not there to talk to them, I'm not there to help them. We always do our homework in English and all those. But there's no reason for those on the other side, in Nigeria, where they have their neighbors, grandma, grandpa, everybody around them, not to speak in their Igbo, Yoruba, and all this thing to them. We are losing that cultural value.
For me, and I will speak on the language in a minute, a sense of family. A sense of family unity, family togetherness. It's something I feel I have to take the time to impart that to my children, because here, the culture, unlike home, I know it's changing now, but when we grew up, there was that sense of family, of unity, of community. Being over here where it's different, everybody is independent, they teach you to pull your own self up, do it yourself, you can handle this, you can do that, you don't need anybody, it's all you. We're losing that. We're losing those cultural values, that sense of community that has helped people back home for generations. And so for me, I feel I need to impart that to my children, even though they were born here, that, hey, no matter that you're still here, you have a family, you have roots. We take them home so that they see that they have roots, even though they're here, they interact with their peers, but they need to understand that they have a place they come from.
For me, I think the most important thing really, just like Mecca said, it's a sense of value, a sense of family. Yeah. That is what I really try to instill in my kids. I think there's a saying that goes like, it's easy to break a broomstick.
Yes.
But when you have a bunch, it's hard to break.
Exactly.
So I tell my kids that, you've got to be there for one another. You've got to stand as a family. And that was something that, I grew up enjoying, experiencing. And I say part of it is because in life, the number one fan you can have is your family.
Exactly.
Friends will desert you, but family will be there. So you guys have to be there for one another. You need to appreciate one another, and you need to be there to support one another.
I believe that empowering young girls or young women so they can grow up with it, in taking care of ourselves too. As women, we seem to give and give and give, but we need to also take good care of ourselves so we can be able to be there to take care of the kids or instill those cultures to them.
You're full of wisdom. The experience here has taught you wonderful lessons to impart to us at home. Thank you for reminding us to keep a healthy balance and to remind ourselves that we are matriarchs of the family, no matter what. Yes. Thank you. Well, viewers, you have had it all. It's been wonderful. The task of rebuilding Nigeria and its image is a collective one. It is also a creative challenge. It is something for all of us. And I bet we are all prepared now that we've seen this inspiration. Thank you for watching. Please join us again next time. God bless you.